Benjamin, how many did you get right?
9.
9? Why, Benjamin, that's wonderful.
Not 9, Miss Williamson. He got none.
Hey, Carson, we know you're the dumbest kid in the class, but did you hear what they said on Cronkite last night on the news? You're the dumbest kid in the world.
This is Bernie, a black child who appears slow and gets poor results in class. His classmates consistently score well on their tests. Bernie's report card shows predictable results, mostly Fs with some Ds in between. He scores single digits every single time, which makes him the target of ridicule from other students. Bernie is convinced he's the dumbest kid around and shares this belief with his mother. He doesn't think improvement is possible because he sees himself as unintelligent. His mother, Sonia, thinks differently. She keeps telling him that he can accomplish great things if he tries. This story is real. It's about an actual person. It chronicles the remarkable life of someone ordinary who managed to do the impossible. Bernie faces constant mockery and racial harassment from both classmates and teachers. Despite all this, he fights back and achieves what only brilliant minds can accomplish. His journey starts in that very classroom. Once again, he scores 0 on a test, just as everyone expected. A girl announces that he got nothing. The teacher, however, mishears it as 9. While other students are scoring above 20, the teacher seems pleased with what she thinks is Bernie's score. For Bernie's usual performance, a 9 would actually be progress. When everyone discovers Bernie's real marks, the whole class erupts in laughter. It's become routine. The harassment doesn't end there. Things get even worse as people mock him whenever they see him. Bernie gets followed everywhere he goes, not because he's popular, but for all the wrong reasons. A group of bullies trails after him and starts tormenting him. He appears frustrated, which anyone in his position would be.
You're the dumbest kid in the world.
Bernie loses control of his anger and strikes a boy's face with a lock he's holding, causing the boy to bleed. The principal summons his mother to the office and warns her about what happened. He also presents Bernie's report card to her. This is equally troubling for the young mother to see. Bernie is failing nearly every single subject. These constant bullying episodes severely damage Bernie's self-confidence and his way of thinking. He keeps telling his mom, Sonia, that he lacks intelligence. But she serves as an endless source of encouragement for Bernie and his older brother, Curtis. One afternoon, Bernie approaches his mother and asks for help with his schoolwork. Sonia sidesteps the situation by claiming she needs new reading glasses. She realizes that Bernie has vision problems.
Can you tell me what them cereal boxes is on the shelf?
He struggles to read because he can't see small print clearly. Bernie gets fitted with glasses and suddenly everything changes.
You're doing much better.
His grades begin improving in class tests and spelling competitions. He attends church one Sunday morning for the sermon. The minister turns out to be an inspiring speaker and motivator. During his speech, the minister shares a story about a doctor. Bernie begins picturing himself as that doctor. He imagines fighting a pirate, riding horses, jumping through windows. This daydreaming unlocks a completely different world of learning and personal growth for him.
Mother, I want to be a doctor.
He returns home and announces to his mother that he wants to become a doctor. He moves past his previous belief that he lacks intelligence. A whole new perspective on life opens up before him. Sonia, however, isn't pleased about something else. The boys are spending excessive amounts of time in front of the television. This saddens her. She visits a psychiatric hospital. Inside an office, she opens up to a doctor about her fears and worries. She never got to attend school herself and was married at just 13 years old. She discovered that her husband had another wife and children from that marriage. She stayed in the marriage because she worried about raising her boys. Then she learned that her husband was involved in drug dealing. She left the marriage and is now raising her boys alone. Her life is difficult. She works cleaning houses to support the family, but she's kept this truth hidden from her children. This situation takes a serious toll on her mental health, and fear and anxiety begin consuming her, leading to depression. The doctor discovers she's having suicidal thoughts. He recommends that she admit herself for several days. She feels worried but agrees to the suggestion. Sonia tells Curtis and Bernie she's traveling to Detroit. She leaves them under an elderly woman's supervision. She instructs the boys to memorize their multiplication tables. The boys object, but they have no choice in the matter. When Sonia arrives at the hospital, she discovers a letter from Bernie among her things. It's filled with spelling errors, but the message is deeply touching. Sonia becomes emotional reading the letter.
24 out of 25.
Meanwhile, Bernie continues making progress in his studies. Now he's scoring 24 out of 25 on class tests. She rushes home to share the news with her sister Scott, who's been looking after the boys. But surprisingly, she discovers her mom has already returned home. Bernie hugs her tightly, tells her about his improvements, and displays his test scores. Sonia is clearly extremely proud and happy.
I knew you could do it.
She continues motivating Bernie, and he keeps getting better. Sonia finds a cleaning job at the home of an educated and kind person. She's amazed when she sees a massive room filled with countless books. She goes back home. She notices her boys watching television. She turns it off and announces that the boys must visit the library. They need to read 2 books each week and write reports on both of them. She also declares that the boys can watch only 2 TV programs weekly after completing their homework. The boys appear frustrated, but they follow their mother's instructions. They sign up for library cards and develop a habit of reading. They begin the journey of education. On television, they watch quiz shows to expand their knowledge. This newfound passion for learning immediately starts paying off for Bernie. The class teacher holds up a rock and asks if anyone knows what it is. Nobody knows except Bernie, who seems uncertain. He identifies it as obsidian.
Obsidian. That's right.
It was formed after volcanic eruption.
He continues explaining how obsidian forms. The teacher is amazed by the depth of this young student's knowledge. He asks Bernie to stay after class for a conversation. Bernie meets with him. The teacher tells him that he's unlocked his brain's potential. This statement means a lot, especially coming from your teacher. From that point on, Bernie performs excellently in class. He excels particularly in spelling. He wins his class spelling competition, though the teacher looks unhappy about it. She has no option but to announce Bernie as the winner. Her racist attitude becomes clear at the annual awards ceremony. The school principal announces that Bernie achieved the highest overall performance. His mother and brother sit in the audience. They look just as proud as Bernie feels. Bernie collects his certificate, but the racist teacher approaches the microphone. She says something that reveals her deeply racist mindset.
Benjamin is a boy of color.
She comments that other students should feel ashamed because even though Bernie is black and raised by a poor single mother, they couldn't outperform him. She unfortunately can't recognize Bernie's abilities beyond her prejudiced worldview. This incident upsets Bernie's mother greatly. She decides to enroll Bernie somewhere his abilities will be valued, regardless of his skin color. She gets him into a school where the majority, if not all, of the students are black. At this new school, a student bullies Bernie because of his worn, outdated clothes that don't match current fashion trends. Bernie responds in the same manner, and they end up becoming friends. This friend dresses fashionably with nice clothes and a good hat. This makes Bernie feel inferior and insecure. He requests money from his mom for new clothes. His mom doesn't have much money available, but she reluctantly scrapes together some cash and purchases Bernie new pants. Bernie dislikes the shabby-looking pants. He argues with his mother. He wants clothing like his fashionable friend wears. But his mom disapproves of that and says people who focus on high fashion are empty inside. During the argument, Bernie becomes furious. He grabs a hammer his mom was using to repair the window and charges toward her. His brother intervenes just in time. Bernie falls in with a bad crowd. His fashionable friend takes him to a gang where he purchases a knife. During an argument, his friend insults him. Luckily for both of them, nothing serious happens because the knife was already broken. Bernie runs from the school in fear. This turns out to be a blessing in disguise since he leaves behind that toxic and dangerous friendship. Additionally, he recognizes how destructive anger can be, and he learns to manage his temper. He gets accepted to the prestigious Yale University on a scholarship. There, he meets his girlfriend, Candy. He feels anxious about his studies and his future. He doesn't enjoy the lectures and doesn't feel motivated to attend classes. He finds adjusting to life at Yale extremely challenging. He confides in Candy that he's only good at reading. Candy offers him support. She suggests he can study entirely on his own. He does exactly that, day and night. Among all his subjects, chemistry troubles him the most. He studies with such intensity that he starts hallucinating, like the chemistry professor is writing formulas for him on the board. His dedication pays off. He performs very well on the exam and decides to pursue neurosurgery. He applies to Johns Hopkins, the most prestigious institution in the United States. Johns Hopkins accepts only 2 resident students for their neurosurgery program. This represents extremely fierce competition. Only the top students can secure an opportunity there. Bernie is determined to get into Johns Hopkins and nowhere else, so he doesn't apply anywhere else. He goes for an interview. His confidence makes a strong impression on the doctor. When asked why he wants to become a neurological surgeon, Bernie responds that the brain is a mysterious organ, and he wants to uncover its secrets. He explains that he believes miracles can happen, and he wants to be the one performing them. His confidence impresses the interviewer, and he receives his admission and continues excelling. At Johns Hopkins, people don't seem to like him. A senior doctor tells him he's nothing special. The doctor sounds racist and instructs Bernie, now Dr. Carson, to simply do what he's told. He becomes a resident doctor. An emergency patient arrives who requires surgery immediately. This is a life or death situation. No licensed doctor is available to treat the patient except the resident Dr. Carson. He doesn't have a license and isn't qualified to operate on a patient fighting for their life, but he performs the surgery and saves the patient, putting his entire career at risk, the career he's dreamed about his whole life. His senior calls him into the office. He worries that he'll be reprimanded for his actions, but to his surprise, the senior doctor praises what he did to save a life. His daily hospital work continues like this. A young couple arrives at the hospital with their daughter who experiences seizures constantly while awake. Other doctors said she's partially mentally disabled. Dr. Carson explains that she needs a hemispherectomy, which involves removing the seizure-prone area of the brain. This procedure is extremely risky as it could paralyze the child or cause her to lose her ability to speak and move. He assures the parents that children's brains have a remarkable capacity to recover. Brain cells can take over the functions of damaged cells and restore neurological abilities. But this is definitely a gamble. Furthermore, he's never performed an operation like this before, but he accepts the challenge to help the child. The night before the surgery, he appears anxious. He kneels down and prays.
Scalpel.
Finally, he begins operating on the child in the morning. He performs the surgery with extreme care. The operation is completed. Now comes the moment of truth. The anesthesiologist attempts to wake the child up. Everyone is deeply worried. The tension increases with every passing second. She doesn't respond. She gets moved to the general ward. Dr. Carson updates the parents and explains it will take time to know if she can speak or move. But like a miracle, the child calls out to her mom and dad. Dr. Carson succeeds in the first of many challenging cases. This case attracts media coverage. At the press conference, with her parents standing beside him, he tells the world about the successful outcome and his patient's health. He credits the brain as a miraculous organ that made it all possible. This hemispherectomy procedure would become the standard treatment approach in most future cases.